Welcome, everybody, to episode number 23 of How to Become a Sales Warrior podcast. I am your host, Eddie Pods. My new co-host is Mark Simpson. Say hello, Mark.
Hello, everybody.
Where are you from?
I am from, I'll admit I'm from Comac.
Oh, shit.
Sorry.
That's all right. And we have a guest coming in on Zoom today. His name is Ashton Silverman from Move Auto. Say hi, Ashton.
I can hear you.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. That's good. So why are we here today? We are here today to dive into my book and take lessons that I learned over the past 20 years on how to be a top sales rep in whatever field you're in. The book is filled with chock full of funny stories, horror stories, but always about how to take my game to the next level. My goal is to help the next generation maybe lop off 5-6 years from that 20-year journey. Some of us aren't as fortunate enough to start on top. I've never been able to do that. So that's what this journey is about for me. I want to say goodbye to my previous co-host. His name was Ty White, if everyone remembers. He's moving on to do some other things, and we're going to continue with the podcast, change it up a little bit. The other change is bringing Mark in as my co-host for the show, which is glad you're here, my friend. Really glad you're here.
Pleasure to be here.
So with that, we're gonna jump right into best sports moment of the weekend. Try to get it off light. I do that every week. What was your Ashton? What was your favorite sports moment of this past week?
Well, being out here in the Bay Area, we got to go with my San Francisco 49ers.
They kicked ass yesterday. They kicked ass yesterday.
They did, and they needed that. You know, we had a lot of injuries. It's a tough season. Expectations were high. And, you know, all you got to do is get into the dance and take it from there. So 1 week at a time. And
San Francisco's always been my...
Niners didn't stop yesterday.
San Francisco's always been my number 2 in the NFC. Obviously, number 1 is the Giants, so that's not a good sports moment. I'll tell you mine in a moment. What was yours? Yours is the same as mine.
Well, so let me just.
And I didn't know until this morning.
So I was working last night. Go figure, shock. And I watched the Jets blow another game, and I watched the Giants blow another game. Terrible fashion. 10-10 last night. Just so happened to have all of a sudden my phone starts going off, and I see Juan Soto's coming to the Mets.
Yeah, bro.
So
got Juan Soto.
I mean, the money's crazy. It is what it is.
Yeah, and that's. I had another moment, and my son texted me at 6:30 this morning, and I was like, "No fucking way!" Yeah. You know, I was really excited. So,
good luck buying a beer out there for $35 next season.
It'll be $38 now. Beers will be about $55, but we'll enjoy it for the next couple of years at least.
All right, we're going to jump into chapter 4 in my book, which is the famous Eddie Pretzels. It's the first of my monikers in learning, you know, to take a business that you know nothing about, very quickly learn the business, and then figure out how to make it better. I was very fortunate and blessed to have a wife who, you know, when my success was not there, she was not afraid to say, what are you doing that needs to be done different? She was kind of my motivator with that business, you know, and that business went from selling pretzels in 7-Elevens 100 miles around Long Island and 200 pretzels, or selling 200 pretzels to one Comac soccer league. And when I decided to change what I was doing, I went from 30,000 pretzels the first year to 150,000 in the second year. And by the 4th year, 750,000 pretzels. That path forward, you know, I put the time in.
You worked hard.
I worked hard. And for those older guys out there, if you're familiar, the word Hangstrom Maps was the maps I used before Google Maps. I know we usually do a old-fashioned time, something old, something new, but we're doing it now because I remember doing my route being done at 6 a.m. and just following the map to green locations in schools and just going there, writing down the name and address, and then going home and doing something called Google something. I didn't know what that meant back then,
right?
You know, but having the willingness to see a different vision. Right. If it's not making you a lot of money, try to find another vision.
Right. So, but you got in your car
Mm-hmm.
You broke your ass
Yeah.
driving all around, and you busted ass. And really, that's at the end of the day, whether you were selling pretzels or pancakes or hats, you basically made it happen.
You know, I meet a lot of guys that still love to use COVID as a reason that
Oh,
they're not
please.
successful, and it really just drives me out of my mind. The action statement from the book is don't be satisfied with where you are. If you're satisfied with where you are, that means you're content. That means that you've stopped challenging yourself to get better at whatever it is you're doing. It doesn't necessarily mean leaping up higher in the hierarchy, but learning,
Right.
you know, and always strive to go further. If I did 100 pretzels this week, I want to do 120 next week.
How would you ever be content?
Well, there are people that,
Yeah,
there are people that are content. All right, Ashton, you're going to jump in with the first answer to my next question. We give out networking tips every week. So I know I'm springing it on you, but I want to know what comes to mind when I say to you, what's a really good tip that you could give my audience when you go to a networking event on what you should do?
So something I really enjoy doing is building off the relationships we've already formed. So for us, we work with a lot of moving companies throughout the country. So I always like to start there. Who are we not working with that that we should be working with? You know, having that soft introduction from somebody who already trusts us and we have that relationship by them introducing, obviously, you know, it's a strong word. Eddie, if you're going to refer me to one of your buddies,
Yeah.
they're going to say, oh, well, Eddie said great things about Ashton. Let's give this guy a shot. So I think really just building off the networking you've already done is going to enable you to get to that next person just a little bit quicker.
I couldn't have said it better. That's a great point. What about you, Mark?
I agree 100%.
Yeah, me too. It's like, wait a minute,
I like
you
to come up
leave
with something
anything for
creative
us.
here, but yeah, that's exactly it.
For me, is the commitment to be active. It's great to say, yeah, we're networking. How often, how frequently do you consistently watch the amount of time that you spend doing it? I'm sorry, I have 3 events this week, all networks, all holiday parties. Totally forgot about one of them, but I knew it was out there. I even said to Maria last night, I think there's another night this week I'm out. And sure enough, it popped up on my radar, the HIA Christmas party. But I'm very committed to being active. And that's what you have to be. It can't be once a month you go do something to network. You got to be out there more.
Right, and if you can give that first deal, like
Oh God, yeah.
you try to almost bring you become friends.
So I'm going to tell a funny story. The first guest from this podcast was Chris Galuzzo, good friend of mine. You know him, realtor. 3 years we were working together. I've never given him a lead. I gave him his first lead yesterday, and it's my mom and dad's house. And I felt so good about it that after 3 years, I always wanted to give this man business because he's such a giver himself, great guy, and I just never find the buyers when they're looking or people.
The timing's just off.
Right. And I talked to my sister yesterday. She's like, "You handle that. I'm going to handle some other stuff because my folks are getting old there." But I couldn't wait to call him. And of course, it went to voicemail, and then he called me back 15 minutes later. I'm like, I got you a lead. And I know it's a drop in, but it's the thought. It's the mentality of this is why we network. This is why we do it. Next topic, Ashton, you're up first. Give one trade show tip. Give it to be a don't. What shouldn't you do at a trade show? Give me one. I know you got.
All right, I'm thinking quickly on this one. A good trade show tip: don't be overconfident. You know, go in there, with your confidence, but really listen. And I learned that over the years. We just went to a new convention this past November. And, we're used to going to a lot of conventions where we know everybody and we're very familiarized with, what goes on and the people there. But the difference in this one was we didn't know anybody there. Like 95% of the people we didn't know. And usually we know close to 70-75%. So it's a really good opportunity to sit back and build off what we've learned from previous events, but really listen to what people are saying rather than, I don't want to say sell, but try to educate. It was a good opportunity to really sit back, listen, and understand what the client's needs are going to be moving forward.
Awesome.
Selling by not selling.
Selling by not selling.
Selling by not selling.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So
Excuse me. Selling by not selling is a great way to
What's
put
your
it.
tip of the week?
Well, for me as finance trait, I think for me, trade shows, I need to kind of go into that extrovert personality. Can't be afraid. Like you, it's a piece of cake. For me, it's a little bit different. But I think don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to hear no.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Knows part of the language.
If I could say, just don't be afraid to hear no. Don't be afraid to get blown off, and try to have fun with it.
For me, I always hate when you're networking and you had a great conversation with someone. How can we connect? Do you have a card? No digital card, no business card, a little scriggly piece of paper with a pen. Like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, man. Go away. Go away. You be prepared.
It does. I will say this. It does seem like we're kind of hitting this phase where the business cards, people don't have them as much. Digital cards.
Digital cards are fine, but if you don't even have that, there's no excuse for you.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Normally in the past, we would do something called old-fashioned time. We have changed time now. We are now doing tequila time. This is in honor of, this is the tequila right here. This is a new beginning for me, going into a new phase in the new year with the podcast. So we're going from bourbon to tequila, which is really my first love. Mark's last love, but that's okay.
Last love.
We're going to take a 2-minute break, get ourselves set up for a shot, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 23 of How to Become a Sales Warrior. I'm Eddie Podge, your host. This is my co-host, Mark Simpson, and our guest, Ashton Silverman from Move Auto. Say hello again, Ashton.
Hello, everybody.
So, again, a new time in this podcast. We're going to tequila time. One quick shot. Cheers to Ashton out in California. This would be a breakfast shot for you.
Got my coffee. Cheers, you guys.
That's good. I got nothing to chase it with, so it's going to burn for a few minutes, but that's okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that chaser right there.
So, rolling into new things. Ashton, what was your best new connection in the past week or two?
Best new connection was definitely a customer that was shipping a vehicle with us, and I just happened to look at her email signature, and she was with a company, not a moving company, not even in global mobility, but reached out to her, and one thing led to another, and her company ships a lot of vehicles, so I'm glad I picked up the phone again after we had booked her vehicle transport and made that connection.
Excellent, excellent. What about you?
So my best new connection was a connection of a connection. You know, friend of a friend of a friend who, a gentleman who runs a company that we're hoping to do some business with. And next thing you know, we're heavily involved in trying to help out grow his business and connect us with some of our businesses.
My best new connection comes off a negative situation. So I'm the guy who's always sending emails out thanking our customers for placing their orders. And once in a while I get those, you guys suck. The you guys suck email. And I got it while I was in Florida last week. And I told the guy I would talk to him on Friday when I was in the airport. I didn't get to talk to him. Right. And I emailed him from the plane. I can't do this now. I'll call you next week. And I'm sure he said this guy's full of crap. Anywho, called him at 8 o'clock this morning. He was up. So he had bad experience. He's used us for events for disc golf. Have you heard of disc golf?
Sure.
Runs a big one in North Carolina. Uses us for 14 days. Real cool operation. We effed up. We put the container in the wrong place. I send an email, a week and a half later, and he wants to lay it out to me. So when someone's doing that, I'm looking at their account, following the story that he's telling me doesn't match. I bring that up because sometimes customers lie. So you really have to weed through the what I know, what you're saying, and what really happened.
Yep.
So we got through it all, and I saw he was in the right. I did everything I could to be smooth, and I said, I don't want to sound like a jerk right now. let's take this situation out of here. This never happened. Let me ask you a question. I said, do you do events like this all over the country? I was literally asking this man for business right after him telling me how bad we fucked up his job.
Right.
And I knew that we fucked up his job and told him so. But the point was, we were both able to we started talking about 3 other events that they host in other cities around the country. By the end of the conversation, I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach out to my team, and I'm going to CC you on the email. I'm going to blind copy you. I said, blind copy. And I'm going to tell my team that we should reduce this charge and this charge because this is what happened. And you're going to see that I'm a man of my word, and I'm going to do what I say I can do. It's up to them to approve, but at least you know I just went to bat for you. And he's like, dude, I was not expecting any of this when you called me. You know?
Listen, you know how many people, when that nasty customer calls and are afraid to take that call?
Yeah.
And what's really a skill is if you can flip, and you can't always do it.
No,
Sometimes you just get crushed.
you do
But if you can flip it, and that's really the sign of true salesmanship.
What was your best business decision last week?
Best is, I got a good one, actually. We had, similar to you, a customer who wasn't thrilled with the situation. And a lot of times it goes through me, but then I want to have our customer service team, reach out to them because they're the one that's involved from start to finish. Instead of this, I picked up the phone, called the customer back, relayed the information, and very similar to your story, Eddie, we left on a very good note. They have a second vehicle they need to ship. They needed pickup the following day. It got picked up.
Nice.
We just said, I'm going to do it. We're not going to charge you, a rush fee for a 1-day load tomorrow. So basically, very similar to yours. I love these stories because you're turning an adverse situation into a positive. And so, yeah, they were upset, but then it helped everybody out at the end of the day.
It's funny. You brought up the rush fee. We fucked up and didn't put the container where it was supposed to go. We actually charged them to come back and move it. I'm like, we put it in the wrong place and we threw a fee on top of it? Come on, you can't do that.
Still talking to you.
And he's still talking to me. All right, what was your best business decision of the week?
I'm going to come at this a little bit differently. My best business decision was not being cheap.
Okay.
Meaning, we have some major customers that, require us to attend events.
Okay.
These events are not cheap.
Of course.
And when you're running a business, you think, you know what, I can cut some of this out. We said, screw it. You know what, we're going to pay the money. We're going to attend the event. We're going to support our customer who's giving us business. And I'm happy we did it. I mean, the pain of the financial aspect.
Of course.
I think one of the things that you look at is if you're willing to basically go that extra mile and make that investment, usually that investment returns tenfold for you.
Excellent. Excellent. So I'm a sales guy, true to heart, Ashton. I'm always talking numbers. It's how many containers and how many months. So we're going into the biggest win of the week. I'm going to lay it out first. I landed this Courtyard by Marriott in Chicago. Caught him on the residential email side of things, meaning he didn't get the pods for business. He actually went to residential. I saw his email address, sent him a personal email, calls me back. I got 7 containers in his parking lot for 3 months. It's a score. That's a score. Still hasn't paid yet because the credit card thing is effed up. But that's neither here nor there.
Not your responsibility.
No, no. What was your big win?
Biggest win last week was, coming after a Thanksgiving holiday week where, numbers were decent. They weren't extraordinary. Last Sunday night, we put together a little email to all potential future customers, and that email somehow hit everybody's inbox, and with a return smile from them and a dial to us, which is always nice. And last week was one of the strongest 1 weeks we've ever had in 30 years.
Wow!
In December.
That's awesome. Way to finishing off the fourth quarter.
It was a simple email letting them know, give us a call, talk to us about your route. If we can discount this any for you, we will. Not all routes you can, but
of course,
it's allowing us to have that second conversation with a customer that we may not even have.
Very cool. Very cool. Mark, big win?
My fingers are crossed.
Okay.
My fingers are crossed, but we made an investment. We deployed a bunch of demo product
Okay.
with a national retailer, and we're hoping to become the vendor of choice to provide a mobile security solution for them. So
Nice.
that would be, and these are slow wins, but big if you get them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Ashton, now it's Q&A time. I'm going to tee up questions. You're going to have lasered answer, and Mark's going to come up with some follow-up to your answer or to the question itself. Just give us a quick, brief history on Move Auto. I know they've been around for 30 years, but probably not under the same name the whole 30 years, right?
Right. So it started off in '94. Our president, Elliot Schaefer, started the company as All American Trucking and Transport. I believe he had 2 or 3 people working with him at the time. Our vice president, Justin Barron, came in about 15 years ago and really ramped the company up again. And then I came in shortly after him, and we changed to Move Auto, I want to say about 3 years ago. It's still same ownership, same location, and then staff about 30 people.
And you focus on moving cars, trucks, specialty vehicles?
Cars, trucks, boats, RVs, trailers. About 5-6 years ago, we officially integrated a heavy haul.
What's the hardest one to move?
Man, I would say not even a lifted truck. I'd say, they're not that hard, but boats, RVs, they're not hard to move because people want to take them. But the one thing that is hard, the one thing we will not move, and that's a hot tub.
Well, I didn't see that there. Yeah.
Are you guys worldwide?
No, we are just in the U.S. We do ship to Alaska, Hawaii, and then we also do ship to Canada, in and out of Canada.
So you have the special border permits and all that fun stuff?
Yes.
Coming over and back?
So we can handle all of Canada. When that comes to me, I will specialize in the U.S. till the cows come home. When it comes to Canada, I slide that right on over to the great Stephanie Malone.
It seems like a lot of people have trouble. It's challenging getting stuff in and out of Canada these days.
It is, and there's a lot of information that's needed. The one that always blows my mind is they need to know if they're a U.S. or Canadian citizen, because apparently that makes a huge difference.
Right.
I just, in the past 2 months, have had the capabilities to move a container there to here, or here to there. We just didn't have the right people at the border. It was just too crazy. Yeah. I guess pods did. I don't know. All I know is we now can, but it's still a lot of whole extra paperwork.
It's probably easier coming from Canada to U.S. than going from the U.S. to Canada.
Oh yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
Web talks. You do a lot of speaking. You do a lot of networking. Tell us what you're doing in the social media world. Is it your website that you're killing it on? Instagram?
We've been doing Instagram for a little bit of time now. You can follow us at Move Auto 1. We have people that work on our Instagram. I will say though, even though I'm not going to say whether we're fans or not, but Yelp is crazy because we are a family-owned company. And we always say you're only as good as your last move. And there are people, we send a template out after customers have shipped their vehicle with us, asking them to put a Yelp review. And we do have a lot of Yelp, and they're real reviews. You go to a lot of these social media sites and they're fake. They're not real. We have real Yelp and experiences from customers, whether they're good or they're bad, they help. And it's almost like we were talking about earlier, the negative ones, it's really interesting because those are the ones that customers always bring up when we're having a conversation, when they're asking, oh, are you on the web? Can I find you on Yelp or Better Business Bureau? Because you can really inform the customer of the whole story. So I am a fan of Yelp in that regard, but Instagram as well.
Is someone dedicated to managing the Yelp reviews and your social media?
Yeah, so we have somebody in our office who manages the Yelp reviews because we do get a lot of business from Yelp, and so you want to make sure that their questions and their quote requests are all answered in a timely manner. So I think our response time is still within 20 minutes, I want to say, on Yelp, or 30 minutes. But yeah, it's great information we get from them, and it's really important to be able to tell the customer the whole story in a negative situation.
Cool, cool. Now, are you a freight broker as well, or is that what you're considered?
So we're considered auto brokers. We're licensed, bonded, insured brokers. And the cool thing about us, because everyone always gets scared of the word broker. The nice thing about us, because we've been doing this for 30 years and we have relationships, not only with the moving companies that refer clients to us, we have those relationships with the drivers we work with. And so many companies out there don't. They're just going to go post your car up on a national load board. And don't get me wrong, there's times where that needs to be done, but our vetting process is well above and beyond. I can guarantee what most companies are doing to find that driver. But again, having those relationships, California, Texas, the Northeast of Chicago, you name it, pretty good chance that we've worked with that carrier anywhere from about 10 to 20 years.
The shipping lanes that you use, are they similar to the ones that NFI would use for intercontinent?
I believe so. I do.
What does it take to send a car from New York to LA? How many days?
So typically on that, I would quote 5 to 9 days. We guarantee all cross country within 16 days. And obviously if it goes beyond, which I can truly tell you, I do not know the last time it's gone past 16 days, we will reimburse a customer.
Usually during a holiday weekend, that's usually
you're looking like 7 days on average.
Okay. You know, because I live in the world of, you know, I was giving an estimate on a project this morning, and it's like he's giving, I want it here, whatever. No. When do you need it? Where you need it by?
Yes.
And let me count backwards to the pod's calendar and timetable. And, you know, that's the part of the people in a call center who really can't elevate their conversation and speak upon it because they're not experienced enough to speak upon it. But I start at the end result. Where do you want to be and when? Now
and do you have somebody to accept?
Right. So, you know, it's really important to know, here to California, especially Northern California, is 9 to 12 days until I plug it all in. Now, my counterparts don't do the plug-in. They go with the vague number, and that's why when things go sideways, they don't really have answers. For me, I actually make the move all the way through. The pickup date, the return date, the redelivery date, I do the whole thing, so it's locked in. You know, and that information blew this guy away today. He's like, I never heard of this before from your company. Like, we all do things a little differently. Mine is, I am like the guy who doesn't want something to go sideways.
You didn't follow the standard script.
Right. I did not follow
Eddie,
the
I got a good
standard
one
script.
for you.
That's exactly
I always like to
Mark.
tell customers, I want to put everything out on the table so there are no surprises. You only want surprises on your birthday.
Speaking of everything out on the table, you see your pad, your pens, your lip gloss. They're all out on the table here. They're right here.
I love it.
Very good, very good. Tell me about, you know, because I've never done a move myself. So, you know, when I'm delivering an empty container, you know, I know they're going to be there for two days or 3 days, whatever the time is. And, you know, they got to make sure everything's tied up and everything's cushioned. What's the prep for a car? What's involved in getting a car up and out?
Yep. So the first thing is we're doing the walk-around inspection. The driver's doing the walk-around inspection with the customer. I always encourage customers to take photos at both pickup and delivery, you know, then sign the BOL, make sure everything is crystal clear. Even if it's a little thing, mark that at pickup. And then the same thing on delivery. Most important thing, doing the walk-around inspection. If you're not physically going to be there and you have an alternate contact, make sure they're looking over the car. Make sure they're taking pictures. Making sure they're asking the driver. And if you do have, you know, you see something and there's a discrepancy, let us know within 24 hours. We're going to take care of you.
Do you guys use like the iPad, like when you go walk around like in a service queue or something?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You got the iPad. You got the driver's also taking photos too. And as soon as the driver's done taking photos, those are uploaded so that we can see them right away, and it's going into the client's folder.
Nice. Now, are all of your transits enclosed vehicles, open vehicles?
No. So what's really interesting is, you know, up until about 5 years ago, I would say 90 to 95% of the vehicles we did were open. And we'll insure any open vehicle up to 100,000 with a zero deductible. If it's over 100,000, it does need to go enclosed. Well, with all these new vehicles coming out, you go look at the Rivians or the new Defenders. Those are over 100,000, so they need to go enclosed now. So I would say we do about 75 to 80% open, and then the rest are going enclosed. And enclosed, we're insuring up to 250.
Give me a New York to California differential in price and an open and a closed. Just give me the price differential.
So I'm going to go because I just did one very recently this morning. 2023 BMW M4 going from, I want to say, Hoboken, New Jersey, and it was going out to Woodland, California, Sacramento area.
Okay.
Open transport, and it is right under the $100,000. So at that point, if it's a nice car, and I know it's a nice car, and I'm sure the customer knows, I'm recommending enclosed, but I'm giving them options. You're looking at about $1,500-$1,600 open versus enclosed about $2,300 to $2,400.
That's not a huge differential in my world.
It's not. And the shorter the distance, the shorter the difference is going to be in open and enclosed. Like right now, the Bay Area to Texas, I can go open for $1,100 to $1,200, and enclosed might be $1,400 to $1,500 enclosed. So it always really just comes down to the customer's preference. But if a customer wants to ship a 2016 Porsche, I like Porsches, so I'm always going to recommend that to go enclosed.
I wouldn't see why most everything would be enclosed at this point.
Yeah. A lot of times people come on my show and I have certain vibes with people, but you actually answered two questions that I wanted to dive into that I don't have to dive into now. You just answered them in your pitch, so to speak, in your conversation of being aware and making sure people know all the details, and the question was, does someone have to be present? And it's almost the exact same as I say to my clients. Does someone have to be there? No, but I'm not guaranteeing you that container's going in the spot that you want it. My driver sees his vision. You see your vision. If you're leaving it to my driver, you cannot call me tomorrow and say, get your ass back here and move this container. You be there or put out 4 cones. And I'm sure you can't do that. But,
But the other thing you said, too, is no surprises. So I love...
Can't have surprises.
Right. I always tell people I want a boring relationship.
Yes. I rather go over every single little detail beforehand, before they even give a credit card. Because I don't want them calling back, hey, Ashton, you didn't say this. Well, actually, this is what we covered, and this is exactly why I told you this.
Yeah, I have my pitches that never variate. And, I had a woman call today and say, she started to say she booked the order with me, and then I did it wrong. And she quickly learned that she never booked it with me. She was completely wrong. And I heard it in her voice, saw it in my screen, and I'm going to flip this. And I'm like, wow. Whoever you spoke to didn't ask you the right questions. I'll take care of this for you. And she was like, oh my God, you're a lifesaver, blah, 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 blah. But when I sent the email to my team, it was apparently this woman did not give us the right information. So there's no fault on the rep who took the order. This isn't on us. But I, smoothed her over. But it's just,
now you're the customer advocate.
Exactly.
Between your team.
Yeah, well, we got to remember, and I tell this to our sales team all the time, a lot of time, and this goes for you guys too, a lot of times when we're dealing with the customer, working with them, it's not always a happy situation on their end, No. They're moving. They have to change schools, loss of a job, starting a new job. There's anxiety at all levels. So I always like to go into it. How can I make your life easier right now? You got a lot of moving parts, point intended. Let me take this. Let me help you cross this off the list.
I like what you said, because that makes a lot of sense, because you're bringing real life personality to a situation. I didn't even think about that, but the reality is you might be moving against not really what you want to do. And if
we're almost a therapist, though.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Couch therapy.
Yeah. All right, we got 2 more questions, and then we'll start our promos on each other's businesses. The last 2 are really good. Where are you and/or Move Auto in 5 years? You're a young guy. What are you in your late 30s, early 40s?
I am. I'm 38.
There you go. There you go. You're half my age almost. Well, where are you in 5 years, and are you with Move Auto, or where do you think you are with Move Auto?
No, absolutely. I'm a lifer. They say once you get in this industry, you can't get out. Well, once you start at Move Auto, you don't leave.
All right.
Which has really been the case. So one little tidbit about that is almost every single person of our 30-person staff has been hired based off knowing somebody at the company. So it really is like a family. And in 5 years, I hope we can, add some more family to this, and maybe even some more salespeople. And for every salesperson we bring, there's always going to be probably 2 customer service people. So just growing, not too quickly, just taking it in strides, one car at a time. And, just
quick question.
building off that.
Quick question. I was introduced to you by someone from Pods 4 or 5 years ago. I thought he
Yes.
brought you in with the intention that, or with the thought process that you were applying to be a vendor for Pods. Was that the case or no?
Oh, absolutely. We, and, I don't remember exactly who it was. I may have even called you from LinkedIn, because I'm a big believer in, if I connect with someone and they're showing a phone number, I'm dialing.
I could have sworn you gave a presentation on a conference call with me and 20 guys.
There's a very strong possibility. I don't know if I did with 20 of you. I know you and I spoke at lengths, but hey, listen, Eddie, it's not too late. We can still do that call with 20 people.
Okay.
Goes back to my first point earlier. I know you. Who do you know?
Exactly.
That's why we're here.
That's exactly why we're here. So if you haven't watched any of my podcasts yet, I know you will moving forward. So you don't know. If you did, you'd know the last question. So you don't know the last question, do you?
No, don't put me on the spot.
All right,
like
there
that.
you go. So here's the question. You can have dinner with anyone in the history of the world, alive or dead. Who do you want to have dinner with, and why?
This is going to sound real silly, but I saw something. My wife and kids.
Great answer.
Dead or alive, wife or kids.
Fair enough. Mine was Jesus.
100%.
Mine was Jesus Christ.
No.
It was.
Okay, but if we want to go on an answer that's not going to be wife and kids, the one person, it would have to be Babe Ruth. I'm such a baseball guy.
That's a great one. I love the Babe, man.
To know
Wasn't a Yankee fan, but I just love him.
And then pitched 9 innings and hit 3 home runs.
And eat 3 hot dogs.
Oh my God.
That's great. So let's, why don't you take a couple minutes, or just whatever amount of time it takes you, to give us your business info. Tell us a web address, where we could reach you on LinkedIn, phone numbers. Take your time. Go for that.
Absolutely. LinkedIn, easy to find. Ashton Silverman, name of the company, Move Auto. Our Instagram handling is Move Auto 1. Our website is moveauto.com. You can find us on Yelp, Better Business Bureau, all those fun sites. We're located here in Burlingame, California. I'm very easy to get a hold of. You can always email me, ashton@moveauto.com, MOVEAUTO. And then my direct line, I'll give this. Please no prank calls. 650-443-2031. Love picking up the phone, speaking with clients, customers. And that's how you get a hold of me.
Yeah,
or get my info from Eddie.
I know so many sales guys that are afraid to pick up that actual phone. I don't understand it. I was out of the office for 2 straight weeks. I worked over the weekend to catch up, but I had a list of the top 5 people I had to call by 9 o'clock, not at 9 o'clock, by 9 o'clock. I was in the office at 5:30, 8 o'clock, 8:01. I started. I went through all 7 of those calls by 8:30. Already spoke to them, closed 2 deals, made 2 people happy, and was able to leave work to come do this. Okay, this is coming off being off for 2 straight weeks. I'm here because I got my work done. I worked yesterday during the football games. I worked Saturday during the college games. But
yes.
Mark, how do we reach you if we wanted to reach out to you? You haven't really told us what you do. So
I am CFO for the Integris Group. We focus on outsourced loss prevention. So our customers are typical, all your big box retailers, convenience stores all around the country or whatnot. It is msimpson, SIMSON, @theintegrisgroup.com. And you can find us on websites, and we're all over LinkedIn and all that other good stuff as well.
I am Eddie Pods. You can reach me at eadelman@pods.com. If you don't catch that, how about eddiepods@gmail.com? Just as easy to reach me there. Local phone number 631-334-8587. If anyone sees this podcast and you think you'd be a good guest, feel free to shoot me an email. Love to look you up on LinkedIn. We're always looking. We're going into the new year with a new plan. This will be our last episode of the year. Going into the new year, the idea is to expand beyond my connections here on Long Island. So Ashton, be on the lookout for men like us who would be a good guest, not your friend who wants to be on a podcast, but someone who actually has something to bring to the table in a way, like you got to be outward personality to actually be interviewed. If you can't do that, please don't come on my podcast.
Ash, I'll say you gave a really good pitch, so you could tell you're refined. You've done this once or twice.
And again,
I appreciate that.
I've been very selective and opportunistic. I mean, he was here last week when we just couldn't get connected in the studio and stuff. And I'm thank you again for coming right back. But that just goes to show we have a relationship, and it's not based on shit that goes sideways. It's you say my name, I say your name.
Right.
If someone needs a pod, we're in, and we work on opposite sides of the code. We've never met in person, which maybe in this new year, one of us is doing a journey to another city, which I know I'm doing a lot of traveling this year. We definitely got to connect. Now that I know that you're up in the Bay Area, I'll make you take me to a Giants game.
Absolutely.
Because I ain't coming to San Francisco in the winter.
Yeah.
It's actually warmer in the winter.
Is it really?
I'll make it over to you guys and pull up a seat right next.
There you go. So I'm doing a lot more, taking on a lot more national accounts with the slim down of my company. They want to see me out even more, not just New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. They want to see me in Vegas and California and here and there. So, I told my wife we're going to have me away at least, a couple of days every other week for the year. That's what we're going to do. And it's just like more nights I don't have to cook dinner. That's how she looks at it. You're less work when you're not here. I only cook dinner because you need a meal. I could eat a bowl of cereal every night of the week. So.
See, my wife doesn't like when I leave because I'm the one who does the cooking.
Oh. Well, I'll tell you this, with my travel schedule, I've eaten out more now than I ever have. It is what it is. So
you just got to balance it.
I'm trying. Being in Florida for a week, I didn't go to the gym once. I came home. Saturday morning, I was at the gym by 9 o'clock. I was very happy and proud of myself that I didn't just, I'll wait another day. No, we're not waiting another day. We're going. We got to keep doing it.
You start to see the hotel.
First day back's the roughest.
Yeah. So, hey, Ashton, it really was great to talk to you. I look forward to getting together. If you're doing a conference somewhere, tell me about the conference. Maybe I go too.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are part of the New Jersey Warehouse and Moving Association. So the next conference I head out there, I will give you a heads up.
Yeah, even if you're doing something out by you, something on a level of connection that would really be helpful, shoot me an email. Maybe I can come in on it.
I'm going to send you an email today about one. There's going to be a great California Moving and Storage Association event that I think you'd be great at.
All right. Sounds great. Good to have you. Our time is out. Thank you, everybody. See you at episode number 24 in 2025.